Hi guys, Coach Tyler here, and making a quick follow-up video to one of the topics that me and my guest on my last podcast, Todd Williams, Professor Todd Williams from Monroe Jiu-Jitsu, and some of the topics we were talking about, in particular that I wanted to touch on today was kind of his growing up and some of the things that he had talked about, and I'm pretty sure he said it maybe 3 times on the podcast. About Monroe, Michigan, and about some of the coaches and about some of the things that his experiences that he had growing up that really influenced him. And this past week, it had to get rescheduled into March, but I was going to go into Macomb middle school and high school and talk to some of the kids, things like that about, positive influences and positive coaching influences. And I think most of us have a kind of similar story that was when we were successful younger. It's because of an influence we had of a coach on a local level, like somebody, at your junior high or, high school level, something like that, that was, very impactful. And, Todd was no different on that too. He'd mentioned multiple times, and he's mentioned to me multiple times about some of his like accredited successes to some of the early coaching that he had and some of those values that were kind of instilled in him about hard work, about discipline, about overcoming, some of the adversities, of just kind of being young and being a teenager and stuff too, and having some of these, coaches set you on the right path. I mean, that was me personally. That was Shane Jacoby, shout out Coach Jacoby if you ever watch this or something. But I've told a couple of my students in jiu-jitsu some of the stories about Coach Jacoby. He would come in sometimes for like the summer workouts, and my mom would like mention to him that, I'd been a shithead or something, and coach would be like, "Hey man, come here, Tyler. Like, your mom's been talking to me." I'm like, "Oh shit, it's about to go down." But I mean, some of those things, like for, a kid like me, or obviously a kid like Todd, like having, that positive influence and stuff. And so one of the big things that me and my wife personally that we try to do, not only like with ourselves, with some of the kids that we instruct, but also with our own daughter too, is really making it a habit to say, hey, you need to listen to your coach. You need to, because if we believe in them personally, like Tatum's had an opportunity to have really, really good coaches. And so we've never been the kind of parents to be like, oh, why isn't my kid, this and that, like, why aren't they getting these things like this, like, sense so much of entitlement. And I think they're going to get so much out of just like, listen to your coaches, listen to how to work. If they give you an assignment to do at home for volleyball, for instance, like, my kiddo, this was like a couple years ago. She was like, I don't want to just do the shadow approaches is what it was. It was volleyball, and she had to do, run up and do a shadow approach. So we had her do that in, I think it was in the driveway or something, hey, boom, 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 1, 2, jump, step. And her coach was like, one of her things was she had to do 100 of those. I think it was like they had like a week. They had a week to do 100 of those approaches. And we were like, how many did you get? And she's like, I don't want to do it or whatever. I'm like, I don't care. You're on this team. This is exactly like homework. And this is, the kind of stuff that I don't know how to coach volleyball or anything, but, I'll call up some of my peeps, I bet Wick Kachogov, from the University of Finley, he would, yeah, absolutely. For young kids to learn that pattern, that step sounds exactly right. And we were just the parents that were like, kid, go do your homework, go do the things that you need to do. Because like I said, if you listen to Todd Williams, if you're that kid that's going to listen to your coach and's going to do like, they're not going to lead you astray. They're trying to lead you down a good path. If they're, any kind of a coach, which hopefully, more times than not, absolutely. You got an adult that adult's an authoritative type figure, and they've, been through that sport, or they've been coaching for multiple years, or in Todd's case, he's going to be coaching middle school. Monroe Middle School is getting an Olympian as one of their coaches. So they should listen. They should listen to those people. And even if they weren't an Olympian or anything, it's like they're probably giving them really good advice about, hey, Todd, you need to get out there and run in the off season. You need to start taking it serious. You need to start, tracking your logs and stuff. And he did. And he's saying he's attributing a lot of his success just at those points too. So again, the topic of this video as well is it goes as to say with adults, like any of my adults that are watching this thing too. What's your coach teaching you? Like, hey coach, how do I get to the next belt or something? Like show up to class and roll. Like, how do you get better? You have to train. How do you get, better at jujitsu? You have to do jujitsu. You have to, whatever it is. I always preach to my athletes and my students at jujitsu that it's like hitting a curveball. How do you get better at hitting curveballs? You got to go hit curveballs. And that's the answer to pretty much everything. That's the answer to getting better at jujitsu or learning to play guitar or getting better at your job, whatever that is too. You have to practice and you have to get better at it, and you get more efficient and you find efficiency and you have a work ethic that equals trying to be better all the time too. So exactly the same thing that your coaches might have told you if you're an adult, like, when you were 14, you were in high school and asking the football coach, like, man, coach, how do I see the field next year? And he's telling you, hey, you need to hit the weight room. You got to start putting on weight. You got to start eating a little bit better. You got to start making sure that you're sleeping good so you can recover. And it's like, this is good advice. And it's the same, like I said, as when we're an adult. Sometimes we just kind of have to hear it as well. So thank you guys for watching the video. And thank you guys for watching the podcast too. I'm going to try to make some of these videos like in between. I have a lot of conversations at jiu-jitsu and at Finley Barbell and some of the people that are within kind of my communities, my mix of communities. And I mean, it's a lot of the same type of thing, same information that you would want to get from a powerlifting coach or a jiu-jitsu coach or, swimming coach, whatever, like on there too. Listen to your coaches, do the work. And instead of asking, why you're not getting things, like, maybe ask the things like, what can I do to get the things instead? And I know I'm not trying to make one of these like pull yourself up by your bootstraps all the time, but let's be honest. Like if you haven't been doing the work, there's your answer, and in certain circumstances, yeah, if you've been doing the work and, there's a raw deal going on there, I completely understand with that one too, but you got to start within, number one, like what can I do? What can I do to do these things too? And listen to your coach, according to Todd Williams. That's a big start too, especially if you're a parent as well, or even if you're, an adult or a younger kid that's an athlete following me. Listen to your coaches and, learn how to put in the work, bro. So thank you guys again for watching, and tune in for more videos. Thank you.